What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. Of course, this is TWA Motorsports, and today, look, I know I cut the last video short. I didn't show you guys the completed project, and I wanted to, but the video was running kind of long, and there was some other stuff that I wanted to do. So we've got that accomplished. We'll talk about what we did, but it's coming together today. So in this video, you're gonna get to see this thing on the ground. You're gonna get to see the wheels that I chose and the tires that I chose. But the two things that were making me absolutely nuts, other than I did want to paint the brake calipers, and I did that, but this backing plate right here, this brake backing plate, and then the hub assembly, they were just so rusty looking and crazy. You guys know how I am. I'm a little OCD, and I didn't take that OCD onto the inner fender liners or any of the rest of the truck. So that part, I don't know, it was just driving me nuts. So I took it all back apart. You guys saw me torque it down. We're gonna put that back together today. So we got those painted. I just sprayed those with some Rust-Oleum. I scuffed them up with the Scotch-Brite. You can actually see laying right here. And so today we just need to get the hub assembly together. We need to get the sway bar end links that you see there, and obviously we need to get the brakes on. As far as painting the brakes, guys, I just held those rotors, or sorry, the calipers in my hand, painted the back side of them. I went over them a couple times, and then once I got the backs coated, then I bolted it. It's loose right now. That was an easy way to hold it while I painted the rest. So that's why they're on there like that. We are gonna have to take them off, you know, and reassemble everything. But let's get that accomplished. The other thing, you do need to trim the bottom of this. I did not show you guys that. The brake will not go on if you don't trim this little corner off right here. For some reason it interferes, which I'm pretty sure I had to do that on every truck, but I did not show you guys that. So just beware that you are going to need to trim this section. I just took basically a straight line from here down and just trimmed that off. And I thought I could do it with 10 snits, but it's a little thick. I ended up using my grinder. So there was an unpainted edge or an unrusted edge from the looks of things that I just wanted to brush, put some paint on this, and it doesn't look great. I didn't spend a lot of time sanding it or anything. Look, it's better than what it was. So let's get you guys set up with a tripod over here and the light, and let's assemble this thing. Now, obviously, before we assemble, we need to disassemble. So let's take these off. I just put these in hand tight so I could get, like I said, an area that I could hold them. Man, I tell you what, it wears you out just holding them. They're heavy enough where holding them to paint the backside was, man, that took a lot out of me, I feel like. I'm not strong enough, I guess. But we'll just set this thing on this cardboard down here for now. And same situation here, I just kind of snug these down by hand. Get these out, and then we'll go grab our hub assembly. Now, guys, look, your hub assemblies, it doesn't matter which side they go on, or it shouldn't anyway. They should be identical. So, at least I'm pretty sure they are. We'll have to take a look at them, but we do need to get those in place. And in the last video, I told you that the torque specs on the hub assembly are 133 on the bottom two, the original bolts. But the top is only 75, so you're gonna need a crow's foot if you want to torque that. Generally, I just get it snug with a wrench. 3/4 inch wrench will tighten that down. But let's go get the hub assembly. So like I thought, they are the exact same. So we need to kind of take this off and thread our wire through here. Wire kind of goes up through one side, that opening, and then we can get this thing lined up, hopefully. You know what I should have done? I should have put those bolts in, but and if you're not painting your hub assemblies, guys, you may have to clean the rust off. Basically the section that sets inside the spindle. A lot of times they're pretty rusty. Mine took a little bit of hammering to get them loose. But now they fit nice. And when you're putting these on, it's good to don't run one side down all the way. kind of alternate. I don't know if I told you guys that in the last video, since this is the second time we've put these on. I need to get the nut that goes on there. Remember, we Loctited this guy in place. And you can see I'm alternating, just getting them snug, and then we'll go ahead. I won't show you guys the next part, but we'll torque those down to the 133 on the bottom and 75 on top. Once we got those tight, we can go ahead and put our new rotor on. And this, we need to make sure we line up. Remember, we have a bolt that holds this in place. So it's recessed in a couple spots, so if it doesn't line up, can move it around, but it also tells you which side goes where. So front passenger side, and I generally, guys, barely even tighten this. That's good enough. Make sure we're not rubbing anywhere. And now let's go ahead and put our caliper bracket on, and I'm going to put a little bit of Loctite on these guys. Not much, just a little bit on the threads before I put those in. And before I put these on too, I'm gonna go ahead and put, if you order new brakes like I did, it's gonna come with new hardware. It's always a good idea to use it. The old hardware wasn't bad because this had been changed recently, but the new hardware will make sure that we don't have any issues. It doesn't look right for some reason, but I guess it is. We got that in there, and then, guys, just because it's easier now, I'm gonna go ahead and put some caliper grease in here too. And these, where the brakes slide back and forth, I gotta go grab some of that and put in there. And then make sure your slide pans are working. Mine are in good shape. Take those out if they weren't. If these weren't rebuilt recently, I would be taking these apart and re-greasing them, but they slide really, really well. So we'll get some grease in this area, and then we'll go ahead with the put the blue Loctite on the bolts and get it snugged down. So this torques the brake bracket, so not the caliper, but the bracket itself torques to 129 foot-pounds on this truck. So 19 millimeter on these. Remember, 129 as far as the torque specs. I've got the wheel, you know, as you can see, turn. That makes life a little easier on tightening things. You just have a little more room. That's why I've got it the way it is. So we'll get this torqued down, and then I'm gonna go grab the brake pads and get them in place. And yeah, it's coming together. Your brake pads are different. I don't know if you guys can see that, but the cutout, see the cutout on this one on my left hand? That one is your front one, obviously, because this is cut out and the back is not. So we need to go ahead and slide it in place. And sometimes this is tricky. They don't like to go in sometimes. The other thing, guys, is I like to put a little bit of that caliper grease. Now on this front one, I'm gonna actually put it on the inside here, but on the back, I'm gonna kind of smear it where the pistons are gonna ride. Just keeps your brake pads from making a bunch of noise. It's always a good idea. Anywhere metal touches, just a good idea. So we'll put a little bit of this caliper grease smeared on the back. And the clean and neat side of me hates doing that, but the side that doesn't want to hear any kind of brake noise totally gets it. Now we're going to go ahead and put the caliper on. and then we'll hook this up. Actually, I want to get it to where it's supposed to be. This line hook up here. That doesn't look right either. I wonder if it came in. Okay, it came in from the inside, so this is right. We'll look at that here in just a minute. Oh, we're gonna have to, probably should have waited a little bit. I'm gonna have to compress the caliper. So we'll grab my wrench or my caliper tools and we'll compress that. We're gonna have to push that piston back in there. The other brakes had some wear on them, so that piston has compressed. But we'll push that in and then get it on. So to do that, I like to use an old brake pad, because if you push on one side and not the other, and then I'm going to try not to scratch up what we painted here. But if you push on one side and not the other, it's not going to compress equally. One piston will just push out. There's better tools for this. I need to order one of those really nice piston compressors. But this works. It's just not quite as neat. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna scratch this up before I even get it on. I think that may be enough. Didn't need much. No, need to go a little bit more. All right, we're gonna compress this thing in and then we'll get it on, hopefully. After a couple times, we got it. Now we just need to get our bolts lined up and get them in place. And then we'll need to torque those. Holy cow, that's not want to go on there. I think we got it now. Once you get that on, you need to torque these guys to 74 foot-pounds. Now that's an 18. It'd be nice if they were the same, but they're not. So we'll get these 18s, or sorry, maybe they're 19s. Maybe they are 19s. I thought they were the same. You know what? This is an aftermarket caliper, so that may be why. They're actually 19s. So we need to torque those to 74. And I will tell you guys, the issue that I was having getting the bottom swung in place is I had the wrong bracket on the wrong side. They're actually side specific. I swear to you, I looked at those and the part numbers were the same, but I guess they're not. So it was causing the bottom of the brake not to go all the way on. So I swapped those off camera. So if you guys have that same issue, that's what's going on. Swap this to the other side and vice versa. Once we got those torqued down, we need to take our brake line and get it lined up in the little hole opening, and then put our 10mm back in. Now if you buy these spindles, they should come with a new bolt. It seems like 10mm fitting it, so that's what I'm going to use. One thing I wish that these manufacturers would do is keep everything metric. You know, I know that, I don't know, it's made in the United States, I guess, but since the rest of the truck's metric, it would be nice if the new stuff that you're putting on was also metric. And guys, I'm not gonna torque this down. I'm just gonna get it snug. If you get too tight, you'll break it. And then once we get that one, we'll put our 10mm for the brake line that's back here. So this guy up top, we need to hook this bracket back up, and we should be good to go at that point. Oh, we need to put our, I take that back. We need to put our ABS line back in place. Don't get too tight. Same thing with this. This thing will snap off so fast. tend to keep my hand close to the top so I don't get too tight. But now, let's try to straighten this thing out a little bit. Need our ABS line. It's gonna set right back in the same spot that it was before. Put it in there. And then remember, we took this out. If you're careful, you don't break these. And then we'll plug it back in up top here and get everything plugged back in the original holes. I don't know if you guys can hear that rain out there. This is when it's nice to have a shop. All right, we got it plugged in. We got one plug that goes right here, and the other one goes up top here. I don't remember. There we go. So we're all hooked up there. The last thing we need to do is I need to put the sway bar bushing in, but since I don't have the other side complete, I'm gonna run over, do the other side real quick, and then we'll come back and put that in, because you really want some play. And if I go ahead and put it in now, I may not have the play that I want on the other side. So we'll go knock it out real quick and then come back and finish this up, and then we can roll some wheels on here. Now that we got the other side assembled, we need to put our new sway bar end link in. And so you should start with the long bolt with the washer on the end, and then you're gonna look and make sure you don't have a washer stuck in the end of this. You need to put that up against the washer, and the washer will kind of sink into it there. And then we need to put it through. We need to put our next one on. Right, and then another washer. That one actually has a washer in it already. And then we need to put our center in. And then we need to put another washer on. And this is why I don't like doing this until last, because we're gonna have to lift this sway bar up and try to get this underneath it, which could be easier said than done. As a matter of fact, that's wrong anyway. We need this to go this way, sorry. But now we need to lift this up. Holy cow. That is a tight fit, guys. I may have to reposition the camera so I can lift on that side. I think I'm gonna have to. We'll try it the other hand here. There we go. And then we'll push that up through. Don't let it loose at the bottom. Put our top on, and then you have your topper. Now here's what I like to do to tighten this. You want to snug this down, but you don't want it too tight. So basically the center here, we can spin it. When that doesn't spin, you know you've got it tight enough. But the other thing I like to do is I'm gonna put a jack under this A-arm, lift it up so we've got some pressure up against it, and then we'll snug it down. If you have two jacks, that's the best, because you can do both sides at the same time. So we can get this one, you know, pushed up to where it's gonna like ride height essentially, get that snug. And so I'm gonna put a jack under this one and under the other one, tighten those down until you can't spin the center. See how we can spin the center right now? And then all I have to do is I'm gonna go back, I won't show you guys this, but I'm gonna put grease in all the grease fittings. So on your, what is this? I can't even think. The tie rod, the upper and the lower, go ahead and put grease in those. Now, they come with grease, but that's, I guess in case you forget, I still like to go ahead and top them off, maybe 1 or 2 pumps, and you'll see the rubber down below start to expand. Once it starts to move, that's when I stop. You don't want to blow out through there. So I'm gonna go ahead and do all that, and then we will go grab the wheels, and we will talk about what I chose to go with. And then comes the exciting part, getting this thing set down on the ground. We may make a couple adjustments on the tie rod, and I'll show you guys that, because the wheel right now is, they're kind of pointing out. So we'll get all this tightened up, the grease in there, and we'll go look at the steering wheel, kind of see where it's at in correlation with the tire, the way they're pointing. And we may just go ahead and adjust that now, or we may Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna unscrew that. We'll adjust that once the wheels are on. That'll give me a better point to look at anyway. Okay guys, so we got all of that lined out. Got grease in all the grease fittings, Zerks. I got new lug nuts because the lug nuts that were on it won't fit the new wheels that I got. So I don't like ones with locks, but that's what they had. I just wanted some open end. But anyway, this is what we chose to go with, guys. It may be a mistake, but a Texas Edition 22. And the reason I say it may be a mistake, there's obviously a lot less tire here than the 20 if we went with the 20-inch wheel, but I really like the look of these wheels. Now, I will tell you, I'm not a huge fan of the one with the black center. I generally like the one with the gray, but they had a longer wait. Actually, I don't even know that I'd have them by now. But as far as tires go, 265, 35, 22. We're pretty standard size for this drop. But either way, I figured I could replace the sticker in the center. I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do. But that is the wheel that I chose to go with. I had these on a Tahoe a while back, and I just think they look absolutely incredible on pretty much anything, to be honest with you. Even the stock, the 20 of these, because this is obviously a replica wheel. GM didn't make a 22 in this, so you have to go with the replica. But that's why we needed closed-in lug nuts. The ones that I had before, they wouldn't have fit. They would have stuck out, and you wouldn't have been able to get the center cap on. But I'm telling you guys, I think this is gonna look good. We'll have to figure out something on the center cap because, like I said, I'm not a big fan of the black. I really like all of it silver. So even if I have to order some center caps and wait for them, at least, you know, we got something for now. And honestly, that's just a sticker in the center of this. If I measure that, I could probably find a sticker that will fit it. But you don't know how exciting this is to get these things on. So exciting. And like I said, these come with a lock. They were the ones that the tire shop had. And I'll list these down below if you guys, I mean, I'm sure you've seen them before if you're watching this channel. So I'm obviously can't torque these yet because it's not on the ground, but I want to I've still got the A-arms kind of lifted. It's not exactly where it's going to set because there's going to be a lot of settling here, I have a feeling. But either way, I want to go get the other one on the front. And then once we do that, we're going to go look at the steering wheel and see where it's at, kind of center up the steering wheel, and then we're going to get under there and make some adjustments on the tie rod so we can kind of line it out. That way it doesn't scrub these things off. If we took off right now, it's literally, you know, facing like that, and I'll show you here in a minute. But let's go get the other one on the front, and then we'll take a look at how everything's setting. So let's show you what I'm talking about. Look at this wheel. Okay, you see it's kind of sticking out. And this one over here is kind of turned that way, but I'm wondering what our steering wheel looks like. Yeah, see, our steering wheel's all jacked up. If we put it in the center, which that should be really close to where it needs to be. Now let's take a look at the fronts. Okay, see how this one's poked out? See that? And then this one is doing the same. So it's kind of, you know. All right, so what we need to do is we need to get under there and we need to make some adjustments on that tie rod. So I'm gonna go grab my light and we'll climb under there and I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about, what we need to adjust. It's gonna have to be kind of by eye, because honestly, guys, you just don't have the equipment, the lasers that come on an alignment rack to get this, but you can get it closer. And believe me, I've got about a 35-mile drive to the guy that I use for alignments. And I don't want to, like, this would really scrub some tires in that amount of drive. And I don't want to drive 20 miles an hour. So, and it's going to be really squirrely. So let's get under there and see if we can address some of this. So here's what we got down here, guys. Let's see if I can get my light up here. So remember, we left this loose, this jam nut. So what we need to do is you need to take, I'm using a 13 right here, and we need to shorten this to bring the front of this wheel in. And so on this side, it's actually turning it down, or I don't even know if I'd call this, it could be clockwise or counterclockwise depending on which way you're facing. But as you turn this, you can get your head out here and look at the tire, and I'll try to leave it out here, see if you guys can see it moving as I go. Probably not gonna see a ton of movement, and I may be going the wrong way now. I am. Sorry, we're gonna turn it up instead of down. We're shortening it. We're turning that inner tie rod and getting our adjustment that way. So I'm gonna do this on both sides, and then once I get it kind of where I want it, I'll kind of keep peeking my head out here and looking. Once I get it where I need, or where I think it's close, then we can go ahead and set the front of it down, and well, we'll lock that nut down, and then we can set it down on the ground. I've got it all adjusted, and I actually point the tires a little in because when it comes down, they're gonna lengthen and push them out. So I put them in just a little bit. Let's see if we can set it down and see what we got. May not be able to get the jack out. Oh my gosh. It's definitely low. Of course, you know, the back being up makes the front look a lot lower, but let's go put some wheels and tires in the back. Let's get this last one on, and we'll set it down. I've still got jack stands under it, but I've got the rear end lifted so I can just slide the jack stand out. Set it down. Guess I got some extra lug nuts. Oh, I'm so excited, guys. If I can get my jack stand. Got the jack stand out. Now let's set this thing down. Oh, okay. Let me take you off the tripod and we'll step back and take a look at it. It's definitely low. Look, I think the back is about where it's gonna be. I think the front, once we get it out of here, kind of drive it back and forth and get that front to settle out, there's really no good way to look at it in here. So here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna torque all these wheels down. They torque pretty tight, so like 140 foot-pounds, I believe. So we're gonna go ahead and torque those down. And then I'm gonna put my center caps in place, and we'll pull this thing out and take a look at it. Oh my gosh, I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. You guys know that I love lowered stuff, so it's exciting to me. So here's the deal, guys. I've got it actually outside here, but I also have it already aligned. I've been driving it for about 3 days now, and it rides absolutely incredible. So no rubbing whatsoever on the drive shaft, but let's go out and take a look at it. So it is dirty because I haven't had a chance to wash it, but oh wow, what a difference. You know, like I'm gonna have to stand on my trailer here. Just so much better looking than it was before. So look guys, we have the normal, what we would call Chevy lean. Okay, so what that means is generally the front on the passenger side is a little higher. So take a look here. I've got about 20 pounds in the airbags right now, but take a look at this fender gap here, and then we'll roll over to this side. You can see how dirty it is. It's gross. See how much more we have there? So, and then look at the back here. So obviously the back is a little lower. So what happens here is there's a couple ways you can fix this, and since I've already got it aligned, I may choose the second option. But the first option is you really don't know if you're going to have much of a Chevy lean until you get the truck all together. And one way you can fix it is when you're putting this spring in, trim about half a hoop off of this side spring. Now, since I've already had it aligned, I'm not going to do that option. So that's one option that you have. There's just no other way, guys, to get it. This is a common problem. Had it on my green truck as well, and it's still on the green truck, but you really don't notice it as much on it. Now on this crew cab, you do notice a little more. Now, so the other option that you have is, we have adjustable shackles in the back, right? So we've got the 2-inch drop shackles. We got it set in the 7-inch hole, so the second hole up, and you can put the factory shackle in this side. And so what that in turn does, it would lift this side, which would push the front down on the opposite side. I know that sounds crazy, but I did that for a while on my green truck because at first it drove me nuts, but once I got the V8 in it, it set a little more like I wanted it to set. But let me know what you guys think. I think the wheels, the tires, I'll list all this stuff in the description down below, guys, but I absolutely love this look. The black, I said in the center of the wheels, it's really not bothering me as much. And we still have a ton of adjustability as far as the air springs. Now, I guess there's a third option you could do, is you could separate your fittings on your rear air springs, or so those helper bags, and you could inflate the opposite side more, you know what I mean, to try to level out the truck. So I've seen people do that as well. And I think eventually I want to put a compressor on it so I can do this, because if I'm hauling a trailer with this thing, I want to be able to stand out here beside it and use a remote to air it up to see where I want to be as far as level, as opposed to like getting an air chuck, stepping back and looking at it, and then you can level it on the fly essentially. So that is the plan anyway. Maybe eventually. I'm not in too big of a hurry to do that. I'm just excited that it's lowered. It looks great. It's driving absolutely amazing, no issues whatsoever. The other thing I did want to show you, if I can get the seat to fold down, is I did get my, I may have to go to the other side here. I did get my speaker, actually, let's just go there. Well, I did get my speaker box trimmed up, and while there's still not, look at the way the seat's touching that. I think honestly, if you didn't have, and that speaker grill's already kind of been in from, I had my youngest son's car seat on that side, but it's not a great fit. But I had my upholstery guy reupholster it after I cut it flush, so the speakers are now flush with the deck. But there's just still not a lot of room. This isn't the greatest design of boxes, but either way, it is in. You are going to have to remove these little flaps that were here. There's just no way it's going to fit with those, unless you trimmed up on the box maybe a little more. But these are, this is a pretty shallow mount. And actually this got it to a little closer to spec, as far as they call for half a cube. This box is 0.6 per side, so with me adding that additional board on the inside, that took up some more room. But either way, it's playing well. I'm not even going to show you guys. It is way better than the Kicker, I will tell you that, with both of them going. Of course it's going to be louder because it's got more cone area. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I know I kind of shorted you on the last video and didn't show you, but God, we were already at like an hour and a half of footage there. And sorry guys, it was so long, but I wanted to show you kind of in depth of what was going on. But let me know if you guys want to see anything else. I think I'll do a couple videos on this later on, and a couple of them being like how much I spent on the interior upgrades that I did. Let me know if you guys want to see that, and then maybe another one on how much the drop was all in. So a lot of people ask me that on my other videos, how much did you spend on the drop, how much would it cost me to have a shop do this, and so on and so forth. But if you guys did like this video, please, like always, go down there and smash that thumbs up button. If you are not subscribed, guys, go hit that subscribe button. Of course, make sure you ring that bell icon that notifies you every single time we drop a new video, and stay tuned to see what we do to this truck next.